Okay, I am in the San Rafael Swell, and all over southern Utah there is pictographs and petroglyphs. And what's the difference, right? This is American art, a lot of Native American art, and they're drawn on the side of these canyon walls. The difference between pictograph and petroglyph, a petroglyph is actually newer, from the Ute, the Fremont Indians, other tribes that were local to Utah, Arizona, Colorado, and around this area, and generally in the West. And a petroglyph is a rock art that is pecked into the rock. You see it a lot in what they call the desert varnish, the dark stained rock, and it's like newspaper rock is a very famous one, but it's all over. We see that a lot on our trips. So this is an example of a petroglyph. You can see how it's been pecked into the rock. This is an example of some graffiti, but probably from the 1800s. Pretty old. Wasn't rare that, you know, this trail that I'm on was the old Spanish trail. So people coming up from New Mexico heading through Utah to Los Angeles. Of course, there was outlaws and people came up this way because the river gave them the ability to travel and get water in the desert. The Utes and the Fremont making petroglyphs like this here. Then, of course, cowboys came up through here, outlaws, different people, and you could see some examples of rock graffiti like this. Then an example of a complete moron leaving their mark on the wall, looks like with chalk, or maybe looks like chalk. Really unfortunate to see any kind of graffiti in these areas. They're pretty special and need to be preserved. It's usually well posted that we don't want to obviously leave any kind of graffiti, but some people are smarter than others, I guess. And then there's pictographs, and pictographs are like this stuff that I'm looking at behind me here. The pictograph is from more of the barrier people. We're talking about images that were stained or painted onto the wall, and that's the difference with the pictograph. It's more stained onto the wall, using local natural orchids and different plants and fibers that they stained and painted onto the wall. Can you imagine? The pictographs that are from the barrier people are over 2,000 years old. Unbelievable. Before Christ was born, BC, 2,000 years. And it's interesting because the petroglyphs were the Native American Indians, the Fremont, the Ute Indians, and others made the petroglyphs and pecked in. They would oftentimes, who knows, stories, lessons, historic events maybe. Those were 1,000 years later after these pictograph sites. So it is a fabulous part of the trip out here in Utah. It is a fabulous history, and far better than any art museum, in my opinion. And it is just incredible to see it. The feeling you get, usually they are in a special place. I mean, not hard to see why they probably considered this a special place, but also the significance here is this lush river valley. Basically, the San Rafael River runs down this valley, and they probably could grow things. These guys the barrier people actually were hunters and gatherers. They didn't really farm, and they used rocks and bone tools for their stuff. But yeah, I'll show some images here. I came in the evening. It's a little better to see things when the sun's not directly shining on them. but a fabulous part of the trip. In southern Utah, we could do a full private Petroglyph, Pictograph, Native American art tour and just go from site to site to seeing this site here to down to the Great Gallery and Newspaper Rock and all these other famous, amazing places to see the Native American art history. These images that are pictographs are oftentimes life-size, no arms, sometimes no feet. Interesting to see there's no horses, or sometimes there's dogs and sheep. See a sheep up here, maybe a dog. But there's no horses. There wasn't horses in the United States until the 1570s when the Spanish brought them over. And this is thousands and thousands of years before that. Very amazing. Hunters and gatherers, people that just lived off the things that they could gather from the land and survive. And this valley in the San Rafael River gave them water, brought animals probably for them to hunt, natural things for them to eat, and images for them to leave on the wall. It's an amazing part of Utah, and it's really something that is fun to explore when you come down to the desert and go on great hikes and then see different rock art. And this is scattered all across Utah, so there's different panels in different areas that you have to go hunt out and find and check out and read about. Some really good books. I've got some good books on it, sacred images here left on the wall for all of us to enjoy now in southern Utah.